Okay, so she finally said it. Well, she didn't say it, but come on. We all know exactly who she was talking about, and the internet is absolutely losing its mind right now because Selena Gomez just dropped what might be the most revealing confession of her entire career, and honestly, I don't think anyone was ready for this level of raw honesty. Word around the block is that Selena has been holding on to this truth for literally years, and now that it's finally out there, people are going back through every single interview, every Instagram caption, every cryptic lyric, and suddenly everything makes so much more sense. Like, remember when she said she was finally free back in 2018? Yeah, we thought she was talking about her health journey, but allegedly, there was so much more beneath the surface that we just didn't see at the time. So here's what happened. Selena was doing this interview, right? And the interviewer asked her about her past relationships and how they shaped her music, which is like a standard question, nothing too crazy. But then Selena got this look on her face, this moment where you could literally see her deciding whether or not to go there. And ladies, let me tell you, she went there. She started talking about how she gave so much of herself to someone who wasn't ready to appreciate it, how she was young and didn't understand that love shouldn't make you feel small, and how looking back now, she realizes she was in a cycle that was honestly toxic for both of them. She never once said Justin Bieber. Not even once. But I mean, are we supposed to believe she's talking about anyone else? The timeline matches up perfectly. The details she's dropping are way too specific. And people online are saying this is the closest she's ever come to actually addressing what really went down during those years when they were on again, off again, on again, off again, until we all got whiplash just watching from the sidelines. But wait till you hear what happened next, because this is where it gets really interesting. Reportedly, after this interview clip started circulating, someone dug up an old video from 2016. You know, right in the middle of their last major breakup, where Selena is at some award show after party, and she's talking to a friend, and the audio is super unclear, but people are convinced she says something like, "I can't keep doing this, I deserve better." And now everyone's going back and re-watching it with this new context, and it's like watching a completely different story unfold. I don't know how true this is, but there are entire Twitter threads right now with thousands of likes analyzing her body language in every public appearance she made with him, pointing out moments where she looked uncomfortable, moments where she seemed like she was forcing a smile, moments where you can literally see the stress in her eyes. And guys, tell me why this always happens with them. Why do we only see the truth in hindsight when someone finally decides to speak up? Everyone thought she moved on, right? Like, she's been posting happy photos. She's been focusing on her music and her beauty line. She's been in other relationships. She's been thriving by all accounts. But until this clip surfaced, I don't think any of us realized how much she was still processing from that entire era of her life. People online are saying that she's been dropping hints for years through her songs. "Lose You to Love Me" was pretty obvious, let's be real. But this interview is different because she's actually using her voice, her actual words, not hiding behind metaphors and melodies. She talked about how she had to learn to set boundaries, how she had to learn that just because someone loves you doesn't mean they're good for you, and how she wishes someone had told her younger self that it's okay to walk away even when you still have feelings. Allegedly, she also mentioned something about how the public scrutiny made everything 10 times harder because every time she tried to move on, there were paparazzi photos and trending hashtags and fans on both sides attacking each other, and it made it impossible to just heal in peace. And trust me, this part will blow your mind, because according to sources close to the situation, and you know how reliable or unreliable those can be, but let's talk about it anyway. Apparently Justin's team is not happy about this interview. Word around the block is that they're concerned about how this might affect his image, especially now that he's married and supposedly in a better place. And there's allegedly been some back-channel communication about whether Selena would be willing to clarify her comments. But here's the thing, why should she? Ladies, imagine if this happened to you. You finally work up the courage to share your truth after years of staying silent to protect someone else's reputation, and then they want you to take it back or soften it because it might make them look bad. The audacity, honestly. And this isn't even the first time something like this has happened with them, because if you remember back in 2018, right after "Lose You to Love Me" dropped, there was all this drama about Justin posting old photos and people accusing him of trying to rewrite history. And Selena had to literally tell her fans to stop with the hate because it was getting out of control. But wait, There's more, because this interview is making people revisit some other really messy moments from their relationship timeline. Reportedly, there was that time in 2017 when they got back together briefly, and Selena's friends were allegedly really concerned because they thought she had finally moved on. And then suddenly she was back in that cycle again. And I don't know how true this is, but people are saying that her mom was not supportive of the reunion, which caused tension in Selena's family. And looking back now with what she's revealed in this interview, it makes total sense why the people who loved her would be worried. There's also this theory floating around that some of her health issues during that period were stress-related, connected to the emotional toll of being in such a public and turbulent relationship. And while we obviously can't confirm that, it does make you think about how much we don't see behind the carefully curated Instagram posts and red carpet appearances. Guys, tell me why people are also bringing up Hailey Bieber in all of this. Like, Hailey didn't ask to be dragged into this particular conversation, but because she married Justin relatively soon after he and Selena finally ended things for good, people online are creating these whole narratives about overlapping timelines and shady behavior and who knew what when. And listen, I'm not here to bash Hailey because honestly she's in an impossible situation where she can't win no matter what she does. But you have to admit the internet is ruthless about comparing them, analyzing their social media activity for subtle shade, and creating drama where there might not even be any. Allegedly, there was some tension back in 2019 when Hailey made some comments that people interpreted as being about Selena, and even though she later said that wasn't her intention, the Selenators never really let it go. And now with this new interview, it's like all of that old drama is being resurrected and people are taking sides all over again. But here's what really gets me about this whole situation. Selena is being so careful with her words, right? She's not bashing anyone directly. She's not naming names. She's just sharing her experience and what she learned from it. But the fact that she's even saying this much is huge, because for years she's been the one taking the high road, staying silent, letting people speculate without ever confirming or denying anything. People online are saying this interview represents a shift in her mindset, like she's finally at a place where she's prioritizing her own story over protecting everyone else's feelings. And honestly, good for her. Ladies, imagine carrying around someone else's secrets for years, letting yourself be the subject of endless speculation and judgment, just because you didn't want to make things harder for them. That's exhausting. And reportedly Selena has said in therapy, I don't know how this information got out, but apparently she's been very open with her close friends about her therapy journey, that one of her biggest regrets is not speaking her truth sooner because she thought staying quiet was the mature thing to do. And trust me, the drama doesn't stop there, because now people are going back through Justin's music too, analyzing his lyrics for references to Selena, and creating these parallel timelines of their songs like it's some kind of musical dialogue. There's this whole theory that certain songs on his last album were about her, even though he's married to someone else now. And whether that's true or just fans reading too much into everything, it shows how much this relationship still fascinates people. Word around the block is that their relationship was just one of those situations where two people loved each other but brought out the worst in each other, where the timing was never right, where they were both too young and too famous to navigate it in a healthy way. And now that they're both older and supposedly in better places, maybe there's finally space for honest reflection without all the messiness. But wait till you hear what else people are saying, because apparently some insiders claim that Selena has been working on new music that's even more revealing than what she shared in this interview. Allegedly, there's a song that didn't make it onto her last album because her team thought it was too explicit about her past relationship, too raw, too likely to cause controversy. And now people are speculating that she might release it anyway, now that she's clearly in a space where she's ready to be more open. I don't know how true this is, but imagine if she actually dropped a song with specific details, specific moments, specific truths that we've only been guessing at for years. The internet would absolutely combust, and honestly, I kind of want to hear it because at this point, she's already opened the door. So why not walk through it completely? Guys, tell me why the situation also reminds everyone of other messy celebrity breakups, where one person finally speaks up years later and suddenly the whole narrative changes? Like, remember when FK Twigs talked about her relationship with Shia LaBeouf, or when Evan Rachel Wood talked about her past abuse? Obviously, those situations are way more serious and involved actual allegations of abuse, which is different from what Selena's describing. But there's this similar pattern where the woman stays silent for years, protects the man's reputation, and then finally reaches a point where she needs to share her truth for her own healing. And every single time, people question why she didn't say something sooner, why she's bringing it up now, whether she's doing it for attention or album sales or whatever. But ladies, imagine being in that position where you know anything you say will be picked apart, scrutinized, turned into headlines and memes, and you just want to live your life without being defined by a relationship that ended years ago. The really wild part is that people online are saying this interview might open the floodgates for Selena to talk about other things she's kept private for years. Allegedly, there are stories about her time in the Disney machine, about industry pressure she faced as a young star, about friendships that ended badly. I'm looking at you, Demi, about health scares that were more serious than what was publicly shared. Word around the block is that Selena is entering a new phase of her career where she's less concerned with being likable and more concerned with being authentic. And honestly, that's terrifying for anyone who's been used to her playing nice. Because if she really decides to spill everything, no filters, no PR-approved statements, just raw truth, the entertainment industry better buckle up because it's going to be messy. And believe me, this is just the beginning. Because if this interview got this much attention, this much reaction, this many old wounds reopened, imagine what comes next when she inevitably does another interview, or drops new music, or writes that tell-all book people keep saying she should write. The Selena-Justin saga has been one of the most documented relationships in pop culture history, and for her to finally start speaking openly about it means we're entering a whole new chapter. People are already placing bets on whether Justin will respond, whether Hailey will address it, whether there will be more revelations, more old clips surfacing, more pieces of the puzzle finally falling into place. And the truth is, nobody knows how the story ends because it's still being written right now, in real time, with every interview and every song and every cryptic Instagram post. So yeah, she finally admitted the truth, or at least part of it, and something tells me we haven't heard the last of this.